One Little, Two Little, Three Little Pilgrims by B.G. Hennessy, illustrated by Lynne Cravath. This is the title page of the book. One Little, Two Little, Three Little Pilgrims by B.G. Hennessy, illustrated by Lynne Cravath. This is the dedication page of the book. It tells us that the author wrote this book for Devin and Sarah, and the illustrator drew the pictures for Carrie with love. Do you know the name of this boat? This boat is the Mayflower. It's the boat that the Pilgrims sailed over to America on when they came over from Europe. One little. Two little. Three little pilgrims. Can you count the pilgrims on this page? 1, 2, 3. Can you say pilgrims? Pilgrims were people who came from one place to another place on a journey, not knowing what would be on the other end for sure. These specific pilgrims came to America from Europe to find religious freedom. 4 little, 5 little, 6 little pilgrims. 7 little, 8 little, 9 little pilgrims. 10 little pilgrim boys and girls. Can you help me count the pilgrim boys and girls in this picture? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 little pilgrim children. Some are working and some are playing, but all pilgrim children had a lot of work to do. This was the kind of house that many pilgrims built when they first came to America. Do you see the wood going across where they cut down trees to make wood for their houses, and the grass used to make the roofs? The children had to help care for the animals, had to get water, had to help care for the chickens, more animals, but they did get some time to play games. And they definitely had to help with the younger children. Does this look the same as your town or different than your town? These pilgrims we're talking about in this book lived long, long ago. Many things were very different. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Wampanoag. 1, 2, 3. These are Wampanoag Native Americans. They already lived in America. Their families never lived on another place. They've always been on the east coast of our continent. Four little, 5 little, 6 little Wampanoag. 7 little, 8 little, 9 little Wampanoag. 10 little Wampanoag boys and girls. Here's the Wampanoag Native American village. Does this village look like your town? Are there anything that are the same? Are there things that are different? Let's count the Wampanoag children. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do you see what the Wampanoag houses are made out of? They're made from grass and sticks. Even though they look a little different than the Pilgrim homes, they're made from some of the same things. Do you see what's cooking on the coals in the fire in the Wampanoag village? Lobster, corn, potatoes. Have you ever eaten these foods? Digging for clams, fishing for cod. Clams are an animal that lives in a shell by the water. Cod are fish that live in the ocean. The Wampanoag Native Americans lived near the coast or by the ocean, so these are foods that they hunted for to feed their families. Hunting for ducks, rabbits, and geese. These were animals that the Pilgrims knew of from where they came from in Europe. So these are things they hunted for to feed their family. See, the boy is building a trap, putting food in it to attract the animals so they can get them to eat for their families. Planting crops of corn and beans. Everyone has a job to do. The Wampanoag knew many things about how to plant crops, or plants that you grow in big groups to eat for food. One thing the Wampanoag did when they planted crops was they used dead fish they had caught and they planted them in the ground. They knew you couldn't grow fish, but as the fish decayed, it made good fertilizer for the corn and beans that they grew in circles together. Everyone had a job to do. See this girl digging the holes, this girl putting in the fish for fertilizer, this girl spreading the seeds into the mounds, and these two girls chasing away the birds so they wouldn't eat the seeds before they're planted. What's happening here? Is it the same or different than the page of Wampanoag before? Digging for turnips, carrots, and beets. The Pilgrims also had to plant crops to grow food for their family. But they grew it in the way that they were used to growing it in Europe, in long rows. And they grew foods they were familiar with, like turnips, carrots, and beets. Gathering nuts, berries, and squash. The Wampanoag would get the things that grew in the forest around them as well to help feed their tribe and their families. This boy is using a stick to knock the walnuts or pecans down from the tree so they can eat them. This girl is gathering berries from the bush. She knows what all the berries are and which ones are safe to eat and which are not. And this boy is gathering squash that has been growing in the forest. Carrying baskets of barley and corn. Now it's time to celebrate. Do you see the two different villages in the picture? Here is the Pilgrim village with the houses that they made. Here is the Wampanoag village with the houses that they made. You can see the path that comes from each village. And the Pilgrim children and the Native American children are meeting in the middle. What do you think that they will celebrate? These children will celebrate the harvest and having enough food to eat to make through the winter. One big, two big, three big turkeys. 4 big, 5 big, 6 big turkeys. Can you count the turkeys with me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 big, 8 big, 9 big turkeys. 10 big turkeys for the feast. You see all 10? There are 10 turkeys hidden in this picture. Can you find all 10 turkeys? Let's see if we can find them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 turkeys. What do you think the turkeys are for? What's happening in this picture? Do you see pilgrims or do you see Native Americans? Look at everything that's going on in this illustration. Turkey, cornbread, cranberry stuffing, pumpkin cider, Indian pudding, clams and oysters, tummies growling. Do you know of a holiday that we celebrate in November because the Pilgrims and Native American Wampanoags came together to celebrate the harvest? We celebrate our holiday of Thanksgiving to give thanks that they were able to live together and learn to grow enough food to survive. Let's give thanks and then we'll eat. Do you see all the Native Americans and Pilgrims sitting together, eating the food that they've been harvesting from what they grew and what they gathered and what they hunted for? This gives more information about the true Wampanoag and First Thanksgiving. I'll read through the book one more time, this time just reading the words that are written on the pages. 1 Little, 2 Little, 3 Little Pilgrims by B.G. Hennessy, illustrated by Lynne Cravath. Okay, there's the Wampanoag looking as the Mayflower sails towards America. One little, 2 little, 3 little pilgrims. 4 little, 5 little, 6 little pilgrims. 7 little, 8 little, 9 little pilgrims. 10 little pilgrim boys and girls. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Wampanoag. 4 little, 5 little, 6 little Wampanoag. 7 little, 8 little, 9 little Wampanoag. 10 little Wampanoag boys and girls. Digging for clams, fishing for cod. Hunting for ducks, rabbits, and geese. Planting crops of corn and beans. Everyone has a job to do. Digging for turnips, carrots, and beets. Gathering nuts, berries, and squash. Carrying baskets of barley and corn. Now it's time to celebrate. 1 big, 2 big, 3 big turkeys. 4 big, 5 big, 6 big turkeys. 7 big, 8 big, 9 big turkeys. 10 big turkeys for the feast. Turkey, cornbread, cranberry stuffing, pumpkin cider, Indian pudding, clams and oysters, tummies growling. Let's give thanks, and then we'll eat. I hope you've enjoyed reading 1 Little, 2 Little, 3 Little Pilgrims. I hope you've learned a little bit about the everyday life of the Wampanoag Native Americans who helped the Pilgrims when they first came to the American continent in the 1600s. Happy Thanksgiving!